know if I should let you go riding around like this, man. Everybody see them big old legs. Hey, you gotta be a good girl. Be a good girl.
Richie Mack. Hello. She part of the big boy. Big boy's neighborhood. Oh, Richie Mack. I see what you're doing. The f***ed around, went to Thailand and left us all here. You see this? Is that all right? That's how you gonna do us, Richie? Wow. Wow, Richie, you done changed, huh?
I'm the travel OG, and I traded in my Hollywood lifestyle for the sexy beaches of Pattaya, Thailand. We're bringing you exclusive interviews, showing you what the golf courses are like, the caddies are like, what the homies like. Zoom to Thailand with your man, Richie Mack, the travel OG.
What's that year? What's that year?
In this episode, we're going to take you back in time. Back when nightclubs in LA was popping. Back before hip-hop was even allowed on the radio. We're talking about the late 80s and early 90s, y'all, when people actually got dressed up to go out. Everyone had fun, and people didn't have to risk getting shot just to have a good time. Back then, for the 18 and under, you had the ultra wave dancers with Gregory G-Bone Everett and a shy up-and-coming DJ named DJ General Lee. In the good old days, if you wanted a pretty girl, you had to be able to sing like Luther, dress like Prince, and dance like Michael Jackson. The radio was social media. There were no selfies, IGs, or Snapchat. If you wanted to be seen, you had to go to the club. This is where our next guest comes in, Felipe Darrell. For those of you who don't know, Felipe to the LA night scene was like Kobe or Magic to the Lakers. He started out with his partners Artris, Larry, East Bay, Greg, and Cousin Curtis. They had the city of Los Angeles on lock. Everybody who was somebody showed up each and every Thursday night at Paradise 24. It's a well-known fact that black nightclubs do not have a long shelf life.
Can't do shit without some ignorant ass singing. Can't keep a disco open more than 3 weeks. Grand opening, grand closing.
Felipe and his guys set the benchmark for LA nightlife and has had the longest run in the history of Los Angeles. Dr. Dre mentions Felipe's spot in his hit song The Next Episode, featuring Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg.
Put my jeans on, and my team strong, get my drink on, and my smoke on, then go home with something to poke on.
Yep, that's Felipe Dr. Dre's referring to about the Century Club. There was even a movie starring Martin Lawrence called A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Y'all remember that?
Why didn't you tell me you couldn't ride?
I'd have told you I could ride a monkey. I can get close to you.
People said the Martin Lawrence and Bobby Brown characters were loosely based off of him and his partner Greg's life. For those of you too young to understand, let me put it to you like this. If social media was around during Felipe's run, they would have broken the internet. Felipe is going to share with us his stories of all the ups and downs, the drama, the joy and pain that went on behind the scenes, and I'm going to show him what it's like to be a black man living in Thailand. Everybody put your hands together for my OG, the king of clubs, the man who was and still is the biggest nightclub promoter in the history of Los Angeles. Felipe Darrell!
Richie Mack, the travel OG. How you doing out there?
Man, I'm loving it, man. I'm good. Thailand is a great place for me.
What made you decide to pack up and get out of here?
Now that is the number one question. I originally came for a much-needed vacation. Then I saw how poppin' it was out here. I was focusing on Thailand and the Philippines. Both are beautiful countries. I'm going to do a segment called Thailand versus the Philippines. You guys are going to love that. But to make a long story short, I came here 3 times in 1 year, and in the middle of my last trip in March 2020, everything got shut down. I had 2 choices: go back to the States or stay in Thailand. It was a no-brainer.
What would you say was your biggest, most memorable night at Paradise 24?
Well, I mean, Thanksgiving night was always the biggest night.
Thanksgiving was always on a Thursday, and nobody went to work on Friday anyway. And we would have like some of the most amazing parties on Thanksgiving night.
We're talking about Mike Tyson in his prime, Eddie Murphy, Magic Johnson, and even Prince used to drop in. And what about Hammer?
I remember when MC Hammer first came out, and it was funny because, again, it was about the music. So we got MC Hammer his deal. You know, he says it on his record, gave us all platinum records, talks about us, the whole deal. So what happened was,
You just said some historical shit that nobody knows. You got him his first deal with Capitol?
Capitol Records. And here's how. Remember, the club was about the music. We had all the record execs back then in our pocket. That's how I became really good friends with Lil Silas. So all these people are coming to the club, whatever. We got a record called Let's Get It Started. Ho, ho, ho. Our DJ was playing Let's Get It Started before anybody. The club fell in love with the music. So now I have the record companies in the house. I got KJLH who's paying attention to what the crowd is doing, right? You got 2,000 people going like this to Let's Get It Started. We bring Hammer in to LA. We paid him $1,500, I think it was. We invite Capitol Records. We invite a couple other record companies. You guys got to be here to see this. MC Hammer gets on that stage, and because the crowd was already familiar with the record, it was easy for them to go. They went nuts and crazy. MC Hammer got signed the next day.
But what did he get, $10 million or something like that?
His first deal was crazy.
Based on that fateful night at Paradise 24, MC Hammer went on to be the first rapper in music history to reach diamond status, selling over 10 million records. Hammer even had his own Saturday morning cartoon called Hammer Man. Hammer, if you hear this, we need you to tap in. Tap, tap, tap in.
It's so many nights that like people tell me right now stuff that I forget. Like I can't even like remember everything.
To me, y'all biggest night is when y'all had Keith Sweat perform at Paradise.
This was a jump up, y'all.
Oh, we broke Keith Sweat. We broke Keith Sweat. I Want Her. I Want Her. I Want Her was the #1 song in the country. It was the #1 song in the country. He comes to LA, and we turned out the whole city.
Corey, down.
Yep.
Look, you say Hammer's bigger than the Keith Sweat night?
Keith Sweat, I can take that away. I think Keith Sweat night was probably bigger. You're actually right. They were already playing his record on the radio. It was already, Keith Sweat was huge. And he came to Paradise and just lit it up.
Come on. Next time on Zoom to Thailand.
We continue with part 2 of the King of Clubs, Felipe Darrell, as he goes into the days of Magic Johnson and the LA Showtime Lakers, and what LA was like in the Magic era versus the Kobe era, and all of the wild parties they used to go on at the Forum Club. Plus, we'll take you on the inside to show you things that you really want to see in Thailand. Make sure to check out our playlist and help us get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year, y'all. You dig?